Yes, yes, yes. This is the HL podcast for our HL Tuesdays. We are the dopest podcast in the DMV, presented to you all by the Harris Firm and Willpower Innovations. I
Yes,
am
sir.
Amrock alongside your boy Chief.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Now, tonight, this is our HL interviews where we sit down and converse with up and coming and established Black entrepreneurs, activists, educators, artists, politicians to learn more about them, their businesses, and plans to help the Black community. All right. Now, people, please remember that all of our previous interview episodes are now available on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel. Right now, we are broadcasting live on the Roku platform and Apple TV on the Politicking app via Politicking Broadcasting. All right. And a very special shout out to the StreamYard platform where we are live right now on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All right. Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All right. Thank you all for following us on Facebook, TikTok, and IG at the HL Podcast. And lastly, but certainly not least, please, if you haven't, go to the HL Magazine IG page and check out our 7th issue. Again, our most acclaimed issue to this point. Definitely appreciate all the support on that. And also, you can please check it out on the Black Lotus website. All right, that's the Black Lotus website. Let's get it.
You ready? Let's get it. Well, tonight we got a special guest. One of our guys, definitely very, very close. We talk all the time. There's a philanthropist, brand creator, brand owner, apparel owner, all the above. Entrepreneur, our guy Kilil Roussaw. You can call him K Roussaw. What's good with you, G?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Happy to be here.
Man, how you feeling?
Appreciate you, man.
Oh, I'm feeling great, man. I'm enjoying the night, the beautiful weather, and talking to you guys tonight. Let's get it.
Oh man, let's get it. Well, we're gonna hop right into it, man. We going straight for the mind. We're gonna talk mind. I'm gonna read a quote from one of your posts, which I read a few times. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. But it is of you on a bike and you working out. You said one thing I can say about working out is that it's a struggle, like anything else. And as long as you push through, you make it deep. Learning to be more disciplined, more driven, more determined. And day by day, you realize there's nothing you can do. That to me, that goes past more than just that working out. That just transcended into just being life and mental. So with that being said, how is your mentality right now? How strong is your mind? Are you back and forth because of 2020, 2021? Like how strong are you in this right now?
I would say, honestly, I would say I'm stronger. I think that 2020 gave us time to sit down and really think about all the things that we wanted to calculate as a business on a personal level. So 2020 really was like a year of pause. So I really feel like it gave me the time to really get everything in order. Any of the minute details, all the small intricate details that we may have needed to tweak or work on, 2020 gave me the time to do that. So I would say, honestly, I feel stronger today than I did a year ago.
I hear that. Me and Rock talk about that all the time, how God gave us 2020 vision in 2020. It definitely made us, strong as well. So we believe you and we understand that. So take us back to the beginning. Please tell the people exactly where you are from and how was it growing up there and with you and your family.
So originally I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For everybody
shout out to Philly.
Yeah, you already know 215 live. Yeah. And basically growing up, man, coming from a regular middle class household, we had our struggles and our trials and tribulations, but for the most part, I come from a family of go-getters and hustlers. Like being from Philly, everybody get to it. And one of the things that you see from all my cousins and my aunts, uncles, grandparents, like we get to money. We anything we set out to do, I always was taught and instilled from the classroom to at home. If you put your mind to it, you truly can do it. So growing up, I always had that mentality. I never thought that any idea I may have had was too big. I just always was taught, like growing up, like I said, to go get it. So I moved to Richmond in middle school. And from there, just kind of stayed. Virginia was a part of my life. I never, I don't knock Virginia. Shout out to VA. I always claim Philly because that Philly has always been home. Every holiday, every break from school, we was back home. I know a lot of people like to say they're from somewhere and they moved there when they was 1, but that's not the case with me. And then went to college, went to ODU, shout out to Norfolk. And from there, kind of kept going, trials and tribulations, just on this road to success, and kind of just got into different business endeavors, and life kind of took a hold from there.
I hear that. Surely we'll get to those business endeavors, but I do want to ask you before we get there, what was your first passion as a kid?
My first passion, I just always wanted to be famous. So I always was good at talking. Like back in Philly, I was an oratorical contest winner. So like 4th and 5th grade, I was giving a speech. It was called Freedom Fighters. I actually got audio of it like a couple months ago from one of my old elementary teachers. So I was giving a speech out in front of the whole city of Philadelphia, going to different schools and performing. And this is when I'm in like the 4th or 5th grade. So I always, again, like I had said originally, like I was always instilled, and when my teachers and people around me always instilled that I was different. So I always moved that way. So I would say, honestly, as a kid, I always wanted to be famous. I didn't know what it was for, but something that had to do with speaking and talking to people. And, that was always my vision, or my passion, was just to talk and maybe have a talk show, a radio show, or something like that. So that was always kind of like my vision for myself as a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense. Once again, I talk to Mark about this all the time, how sometimes God take us through things, and it's not necessarily that thing that we think is the end point, is what you learn getting there. So what you learn at talking, which leads to confidence, which leads to who you are now and what you're doing now, and what you have in that clothing line, your nonprofit. So what were you doing before all of this took off?
Before all of this took off, as far as the clothing line and everything like that?
Yes, sir.
Basically, I was just working. I feel like everybody has a struggle story. Just basically like just trying to find my way. And honestly, I got into it. Everything like kind of played off of one thing off another as far as entrepreneurship. So I can start with basically, I went to homecoming in 2014, and a couple friends were like, "Man, every time we go out, you're always want to convince us to do stuff we don't want to do. You should sell something." And again, just based off of like my upbringing, like I said, I come from hustlers, so the idea had just kind of went off in my head, like, what can I sell? And as I'm riding home, I was riding back to Philly at the time. I moved back home, so I was in Philly, and I'm riding back home, and I was like, well, what can I sell? Cars? No, I didn't want to sell cars. So then I started thinking, what can I sell? What sounds good? What can make me, a decent amount of money? So I said real estate. So when I got home, I basically, Googled how to get a real estate license in Pennsylvania. After many trials and tribulations of trying to pass this test, I've never failed this test this many times in my life, but I actually got my real estate license. And at the time, I had a girlfriend who was living in the DMV area, and she kind of convinced me that it was a lot better. The market here was a lot better than it was in Philadelphia. So after doing my research, that's kind of how I came here. And basically through real estate, and I always had a passion for fashion, I was looking for a way to brand and market myself. And that's kind of how Kilil Roussaw got birthed, as a way to market myself. And your wife helped me draw the logo that we have to this day. And shout out to the host, because he wearing, he matching me today. This wasn't planned. This was not planned.
This was not planned.
The host. They both got it on. Y'all see it. We got flavors, man. We got flavors.
You definitely got flavors, man. Go, please check it out. My man is going up right now. Please go check out Kilil Roussaw now. Apparel, that is. So we say Kilil Roussaw. There's a whole bunch of brands out there. All of them got names. What made you specifically choose in your name to be apparel line name?
Well, I always wanted, like, I teach kids. So one of the biggest things that I teach kids, just to segue, is to have a certain pride in self. And one of the things that I always wanted to do, and when I decided to create this brand, I knew that it had to have something that was a staple for my namesake. And I got a lot of feedback or backlash, especially from people that look like me. And
of course,
one of the things that I would tell them is, we wear, we buy, we shop, we support all these names of these other people that don't look like us. Why can't I have something that represents me, but I can also have a meaning to it, because the name does have a meaning to it, or at least I created one for it because it meant something to me. And in addition to that, why not move forward with my namesake? And I think that to have that, to me, was significant, because I don't see a lot of people that have something that means something. I mean, especially their namesake. You go to Vegas, they got hotels named after people, streets. I mean, the list goes on. And I think a lot of people don't know their research. From Gucci, Versace, these are all people's last names. Like names.
Exactly.
So being a man of color, I always wanted to do something that was different, and I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing, and just having a name that, you know, a trendsetter name, or I wanted something that meant something to me. So that's kind of why I went in that direction.
That's deep. That's deep. Hey, everybody, please roll that back a few times, because that's, you talking name, man. That's, I love when it comes to name, because name is connected to your character, and who you are is behind your name, and they buy who you are. You know, so I'm glad you said that. So take us through day to day running a clothing line business. You know me, I'm in the media world. My guy Amrock, he in the writing world. So we live in different worlds, and we don't understand that world. Take us through, like, you know, creating a hoodie, picking the different shirt. You see my man Amrock rocking the collar shirt. What goes into to doing all of these things?
So basically, I'm gonna say this, and this is not a dig to anybody, but I want to tell a lot of people, because a lot of people come to me and they ask the question about creating a clothing line. I like to tell people I don't have a clothing line, I have a clothing brand. I have a brand in general. And I say that because anybody can make shirts, right? Anybody can create a product, right? But the difference is that when you're creating something it's not a product, it's a piece of art. If you look at, you guys can Google Christian Louboutin. He says he doesn't make his shoes or his things comfortable because they're not meant to be worn. They're art. So I kind of always approach my brand as the same, as artwork, as something that not only is of, and another thing really quick is quality. So a lot of people always ask, you know, you can have something that costs a lot of money and can be expensive, but it's not of quality. So when I created my products, or when I create any product, I want it to be not only of quality, but something that is art. Like, it's literally art. It's something that you would wear, you would want to, and not wear to support me, but as a consumer. So I hear a lot of people say about, oh, I'm supporting you. Support is posting something online. When you buy something from me, you're a consumer. It's not about support at that point. And I think that the differentiation has to always be present, to where you buying it. I don't buy it to support me. Buy it because you want to wear it. I don't create products for support. I create them because this is a way that it's a stream of income. In addition to something that I'm creating because I want you to like it, and I want you to, again, be a consumer to it. So basically, going back to your original question, when I create these products, I think about things that I would want to wear, things that I think are fashionable. And one of the biggest things that I do with creating products, and I never want to box myself in, as you can see, Amrock has on a golf polo, which I don't see a lot of people that look like me make things of that nature.
That's a fact.
So I wanted to have products, honestly, that you can dress up or dress down. Even with this hoodie that I have on now, I could throw a trench on over it, or I can just wear it as just a hoodie with some jeans, or throw some slacks on. I like to make all my products things that you can do, you know, multiple things with it that are diverse. So you can wear it to happy hour, you can wear it to work, you can wear it. So that's one of the things that I always wanted to do when creating my product. So a lot of people, you know, they ask me, you know, Kilil, you know, why don't you make sweatsuits? Kilil Roussaw, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Because everyone does that. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to do something a little bit different. I understand the genre that I'm in, but again, from Chance the Rapper to gangsta trap music, it's a difference. Like, he's still a rapper, but you know, so is Drake. You know what I mean? You can, but everyone, their messages are different. The things that they talk about is different. So just because I'm in a genre of being a Black entrepreneur, I don't like to box myself in as just being a Black man in business. I like, or that's what I actually like to say. I'm a Black man who just happens to, or I'm just a man who's Black who just happens to have a business. Because sometimes we box ourselves in as just being Black. But in the scope of like what Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
So I always try to approach business and from that aspect. And so when creating my products, honestly, I just come at it in a sense of diversity. And like I said, I mean, the whole motto of the brand on the back of our stuff, especially on these hoodies, the difference hoodies, is don't just see the difference, be the difference, man. So we want to be different. We don't want to do what everyone else is doing. And if you stand out, if you're different, then this is the brand that you want to wear, because it's about empowerment. So that's how I create my products. That's how I go about creating them. And I really take very much like pride and joy and detail in everything that I create.
Understood. I like when you said art, because art to me, it shouldn't be STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. It should be a STEM, art, science. Art should go first, because if you take art, none of those make any sense. So for you to bring out art first, that makes a lot of sense when you say you want to be yourself, be in your own lane, be who you are, because art leads to creativity, then leads to uniqueness. How does it feel when you hear that?
I mean, I think it's just pivotal. Like I said, I mean, that's something that I preach to the youth, to be different, I mean, art, any form of art I think is just pivotal in order to be successful and have that creativity that a lot of people wish they had, a lot of people do have, but aren't able to express as they'd like. So for me, being able to do that with art, with my art, and to be a creative to the way that I want to do it, I think that's just super pivotal and super important to like what I do and my brand in general. So art is at the forefront of everything that I do as far as creating products and, you know, building this brand of Kilil Roussaw.
Man, that's amazing to say. I'm glad to hear that. So please explain to us how ownership of your designs is so important, right? Come from the logo, the name of your business, intellectual property to, of course, me and M-Rock is humongous. So we're talking intellectual property, how important it is to own your own stuff.
Oh, it's super. I think I'm glad you just said that. I think that a lot of time, especially people that look like us, because this is a platform for us, that we don't take the necessary steps to have our business in order. And I think again, and that's why I said I touched on earlier, and I said, you know, not trying to, you know, come for anybody or dig at anyone, but a lot of people don't have their affairs in order. They get a logo, they you know, get some t-shirts and they press them up and they say I got a clothing line. And I tell them, you know, my man, or you know, sister, that's not equivalent to what a clothing line is, or a clothing business rather. So just being able to have ownership of what you are producing, because at any time, if you don't own, you know, your intellectual property, if you don't have the rights, you don't have your paperwork in order, someone can see what you have, especially if it's trending, and take it from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think that that's something that I always preach to a lot of people, especially like I said, working with the youth, is ownership. And that's with not just intellectual property, but anything that you're doing, definitely creating some form of ownership in the things that you're doing. So that way, no one can take it from you. They can't fire you from it. They can't remove you from something that you own. So I think that that message is super important to me. And that's something that I'm grateful and blessed that I learned early on is ownership.
Man, well said, my brother. Well said. So another IP of yours and intellectual property or ownership of yours is your K. Roussaw Cares, which is a nonprofit organization. How did that get started? You know, purpose behind that.
So basically, giving back was always big to me. And it's a testament to the struggles and trials and tribulations that I've been through to get to where I am. And I've always had the standpoint that God blesses you so you can bless other people.
Facts.
So one of the biggest things for me was always giving back. So we did it for quite some time just through, you know, the success of K. Roussaw Apparel. We were giving back, doing different things. And it got to the point where I said, well, if we're giving back, we need to put the, you know, again, the business structures in place in order to do that effectively. So, you know, the opportunity presented itself. We were blessed in a position to be able to do that. So we got all of our affairs in order, and we got our 501c3 started. And from there, we officially, you know, gave back as a nonprofit organization. And to me, that was one of the proudest days because, again, like we touched on earlier, is just having the proper business and the proper business structures, having a proper business mind is super important when doing these things, because a lot of people can give back. A lot of people can have businesses, whether it's a clothing line or whatever the case may be. But if you don't have your paperwork in order, if you don't have that ownership that we just talked about, then you're missing a lot of steps, and it's easily taken by anyone. Your ideas, your business in general can be stolen from you. So that's basically how K. Roussaw Care started. It's just a way we were already basically doing the work. We just didn't have the business formation of it. And once we got that, we just hit the ground running, and we've been doing it ever since.
Amazing to hear.
Yeah, man, that's dope. That's dope. So look, man, tell us about the ups and downs, right? Of, you know, being an entrepreneur like you are, and just the hustle every day that requires.
The ups and downs, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I think Nipsey Hussle said it best, man. There's only one distinguishing quality between those who are successful and those who aren't, and is that they don't quit. It's been days where, you know, where we've made, I can tell right now, I've made thousands of dollars in an hour, and I've made nothing in weeks. And I think that adversity is something that everyone is not equipped for. A lot of people like to think they're entrepreneurs, and I had this debate several times. There's a difference between being a hustler and an entrepreneur. Earlier on in this interview, I said I come from hustlers because I do. So having a hustle and being an entrepreneur, it attributes to it, but it's not. They're not one and the same. At least I don't believe so. So being an entrepreneur is something that it's an endeavor that you embark on, that you consistently try at, and you see it through. And and if you do decide to jump ship, it's because it was advantageous to you. A hustle is something that just brings you money. You can sell waters on the street. You can, sell pretzels out of a cart. Like I mean, you come to Philly, people selling CDs, socks, DVDs, whatever the case may be. That's a hustle. An entrepreneur is trying to create an empire with the business that is set forth. And to me, those ups and downs and that adversity that you hit as an entrepreneur are the things that make you really understand what entrepreneurship is. Because it's going to be days where you don't make any money. It's going to be weeks. It might be months. It could be a year. I mean, it takes years to establish a business. Like we've been in business for 4 years, and I just never quit. Like we've done amazing things. We've been in amazing spaces and on different platforms that are huge, but that came from not quitting. Even when I had a team, when I didn't have a team, when it's just me, when it's when I have multiple people working at the same objective. One of the things that I try to do is be an effective leader, and one of the things that you have to have is perseverance. So as an entrepreneur, you're gonna have downs, especially in the beginning, but you can't focus on the downs. You got to focus on where you're trying to go and not where you're at, because the starting point is you pass that. So once you start, you gotta have the objective of I'm not stopping until we get to where we're trying to go. So as an entrepreneur, to answer your question, I would say that there will be ups and downs, but the biggest thing that you have to focus on is where you're trying to go. And if you truly believe that you're an entrepreneur, you won't quit, and there will be nothing to talk about, because you're just going to get through whatever you got to get through in order to get to where you're trying to go.
Deep.
Absolutely. So earlier you spoke on support, right? And we've heard that from people that we previously interviewed, that it'll be the strangers sometimes they'll be the ones that support you more than the people that right? So have you seen that support from the ones that and from the Black community?
I would say honestly, it's funny as you say that. So support was something I had to get over really quickly. I would say I'm blessed to be able to have the support that I have, because I have been supported from the beginning. But to answer the question, there's a lot of people that are around me that I would think would do more since the beginning, but they haven't. And I think that, again, when we talk about those ups and downs, if I were to dwell on the lack of support I got from certain friends or half of my friends or whatever the case may be, I probably wouldn't be here today, because I had to keep pushing forward. So there's always been a lack of support, a lot of criticism, sometimes hate. I had to learn in business how to differentiate between criticism and hate, how to learn from support and a lack of support, how to maneuver. And I think that once you do that, because you are going to get a lack of support, you are going to have people that criticize what you're doing, that have ideas, and they might not see things the way you see them. But that's the difference, again, between someone who believes in what they're doing as an entrepreneur and someone who doesn't truly believe. I'm not going to say they don't believe, but they don't truly believe. Because when you believe, you go at it with 150%.
Facts.
And you find that other 50% from somewhere, because, again, we already know it's only 100, but you go at it with 150. And I said that intentionally, because you find that other 50%. And you might have to pull that from the people that's not supporting you, from the people that don't believe in you. So there's always going to be a lack of support and a lot of criticism from our community. And that's just the reality. But all you can do is continue to do the best you can do. I tell people all the time, I'm really big on customer service, whether you're a friend, and Will knows from the hat that he got on to anything. When it comes to shipping out products, I'm sure because you order something from. I'm super big on customer service and making sure that when you order something from me, and it has nothing to do with me being a Black man, but the fact that I take that into consideration, and I'm very mindful of it, that you will never say, this is why I don't support Black businesses, because I take very much pride in being able to say, like, no, when you refer to Black businesses, if I can be that Black business, quote unquote, that you say, oh no, they're really big on customer service. I ordered something from on Monday, I got it by Wednesday. It was out the next day. I was able to track my order and X, Y, and Z, because, again, I don't box myself into just being a Black business, but the fact that I know that I'm a Black businessman, I want to represent my community well. So regardless of whatever criticism that I receive from them, whatever support I don't get from them, I'm still going to continue to push forward and move forward. And I'm not looking for that support. I had to learn that really early on. And I did that initially. But once I didn't get it, I mean, like, again, I hustle. So being an entrepreneur and being a hustler at the same time, I had to go get it.
Okay. So with that, though, so when you see myself with the shirt, Chief with the hat on, right? How does that make you feel when you see people wearing your products and like, oh snap, like
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's surreal. I'm gonna be like, from the day, because honestly, I'm really big on organics. And the day that I started this company, it never was supposed to be what it was. Like I said originally in my story, I started as a way to market myself and me being a real estate agent, and the symbolism and what the logo is and the message behind it just kind of catapulted into something else. So I compare when I see people wearing my products as like a rapper hearing his song on the radio for the first time. Like it's literally surreal. Like, wow. And then to see, like, because I'm very hard on myself just because I push myself for a certain level of excellence. So when I see people in different places, like we're in Canada now, like we've been on TV, we've been in Essence Fest, like we've been a featured designer in major events within the country. And I still never, like, it never feels real to me until, you know, like you just said, until I see people like, wow, people in Atlanta wearing it, New York, LA, Oregon, like places I've never even been. And I'm getting people at me on Instagram, or adding my business rather, with my products on. And I think it's just super surreal and it's super dope. But it never gets old, to answer your question. And it's always surreal. It always feels amazing because that's just a testament to the products and the quality of products that I'm putting out, that people continue to buy them and not support. I want to change this narrative and not support, but consume my products in my business. So that's just that's a testament to that.
Okay. Now with that, right? If there was or has been that one person that you like, oh snap, like that person got my shirt on, that one person that, you know, you may have admired as a kid or whatever the case may be, that one person that you like, shit, like, oh, they got my shirt on? Oh, snap. Like, who would that one person be, or has that happened to you?
Oh man, I'm gonna say it right now. That one person would be Diddy. If Diddy had my stuff on, just because anybody that know me know, I want, like, the mogul that he is, the way his pizzazz, him as a person, is a lot. It reminds me of like, he's older than me, but I remind me of him. I'll say that. So just because of the way he moves in business, I think that his hard work, his determination, people only see sometimes the flashiness of a person or the things that they have accomplished, but they don't see the work that they put in behind the scenes. And I think that he reminds me so much, or I remind myself so much of him, that if I had him wear it, to me, that would be like a dream come true. I think that, like I said, it's just like I try to emulate him in business, the way he moves, again, being a mogul. And K. Roussaw, like we said in the beginning, it's a brand. Like that's why we have K. Roussaw Cares, K. Roussaw Apparel. Everything is a staple from the name, and it derives from that. So every business, every new endeavor that we go with, is a new endeavor based off of the original one. And again, that's something like a Diddy, from Sean John to Ciroc to the record label Bad Boy. Like everything it's just being a mogul, man. I mean, you can even emulate Jay-Z, but for me, Diddy is somebody I relate to a little bit more. Jay-Z's a little more humble. I love his messages, but Diddy is just the guy to me. So
yeah, I
would definitely say Diddy wearing it would be out this world.
Right.
Now let me ask you. This is a question that folks, well, what I see people doing, right, and they're not doing it correctly. I like when you say we are here, we are there, we are here. I actually learned that in school, where they told us to take the I out and put the we. This question may seem so simple, but it's so humongous in entrepreneurship. Why is it so important to say we are this brand? We are in Canada. We are here. Why is it so important?
Well, I had to learn that early on, man, that you need a team. I said this in an interview. It's a clip that I constantly repost, is that you need a team. You're nothing without a team. In order to be successful, you have to have a team. Nobody can do it all by themselves. And if they do it by themselves, it's very hard to sustain it. And that is literally a soundbite from an interview that I did in the beginning. I just think it's super important. In order for me to, again, I dream big. I'm thinking mogul. So it started with a clothing line or clothing brand, and now we're moving on a nonprofit. We're moving on. We're doing real estate. So in order to have all these different things under this umbrella of what K. Roussaw Enterprises is, right? I need a team. I need a team at the clothing line. I need a team at the nonprofit. I need a team at the real estate. I have to have a team everywhere I go. And in order to be successful and lead these people effectively, I need people under me. So I think that we is so important because it takes a we in order to make this thing go. It takes a we. It takes a mighty we as well. So if you're thinking about joining the team, let me know. No, but,
right.
we're always hiring. We're always hiring. But no, I mean it's serious though. The we is super important, man. And I learned that very early on that you can be a great leader, but if you have no one to lead or no people behind you, you're essentially a lone wolf. So I'm looking to have a pack of wolves, and so I can lead them to the feast.
I hear that. And I like how you drop Kilil Roussaw Enterprises in there. I like that plug right there.
We coming.
Yeah, I see you. So another quote that the writing team, shout out to Blackwood's Creators, put on here. It said on IG, it said, I started off just trying to be great. Now I want to be legendary. Please explain what that means to you.
Oh man, like I said, from the beginning of the inception of me as a person, it was instilled in me that you're not just like everybody else. You're different. So when I say I started out trying to be great as far as my brand and who I am as a person, I started out just trying to be great, right? Because everybody want to be good. Some people want to be, average, successful, whatever it may be. But being legendary, that's a whole nother league. And I think that we don't talk about that. We talk about being great. And that's why I say I started out just trying to be great. I don't want to be great anymore. I want to be a legend. I want to be somebody. When you talk about business or you talk about entrepreneurship, you talk about, Black people or just people, of color and in general, you talk about people that come from the inner city that, that can move to the suburbs and face adversity in any way, shape, or form. You think of me. You think of my journey, my trials, my tribulations, that a kid that come from, whether it's Richmond, whether it's Norfolk, LA, wherever, Philly, New York, they can say, man, if he did it, I can too. So for me, when you're a legend, that's something to aspire to be like. And like, people don't want to be like Spud Webb. I mean, he's a great player, but he's not Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? He's not Kobe. So when you're legendary, that's something for people to follow. You know what I mean? We want to be like Martin Luther King. He's a legend. Malcolm X is a legend. There's a lot of other people that fought in civil rights. They were probably great, but they weren't legendary. So I think that when you reach legend status, you in a whole nother platform, man. And that's what I aspire to be. So that's why I had that quote.
I totally agree. So in this legend status, which we see, you're growing to that. I can see that from where you started and where you at now. Boy, you already a legend. So in this legend status,
thank you.
What would you say to them young entrepreneurs, them young kids, them young folks who are just starting to grow their brand or start a brand as a legend? What would you tell them? What would be your advice?
I would say this, and this is something that I've been preaching recently. Never be scared to link up, to be a collective. I think that sometimes we're as a group of people, as a people that look like us, we're very individualistic. And one of the things that I've been seeing or I've been noticing as I've been, aspiring or attaining this success that I have, is that you have to work with others and work well with others. And I think that sometimes you get people that you may be great at marketing, you may be great at website design, and I may be great at accounting, whatever the case may be. So instead of me trying to do everything and start my own thing, why don't we work together at a common goal? And I think that a lot of times in entrepreneurship, we'll work for other people all the time. But when it comes time to work together, because you can be your own boss. You working for me or working with me, let's say that rather. You working with me, you're your own boss at web design. I'm my own boss at accounting. You know what I mean? So I think that if we get that collective mentality to where it could take me 10 years to save $50,000 to start a business. But if I get $1,000 from 50 people, you can start a business in a day. Facts. And I think that mentality is something that I've been preaching a lot to the youth, and I tell it to all entrepreneurs. We can all work together and be our own bosses. And you look at different examples, with Rockefeller being one, said that people can relate to in hip hop culture. Def Jam wasn't their boss. They worked together. Jay-Z was the rapper. Biggs was the funder. Dame Dash was a part of the business mind. So I mean, if you just look at different examples, they're out here. You can do it. And I think that being an entrepreneur, you can still be your own boss. and work with others to achieve a common goal. Because a lot of people want to do the same thing, but we're not having these conversations. So that's one of the things that I would definitely preach, and that's something, like I said, I've been preaching recently, is that work with other people. Like, it's okay, and you don't have to. And again, you shouldn't have a problem with it, honestly, because you work for someone else, and some people still work for someone else, but won't work with other people that are trying to attain the same thing you are, and a level of success that you're not going to make it your 9 to 5 if you're talking about entrepreneurship, which is why people get into it, because you don't want to cap. You can make a limitless amount of money, and you can have a limitless amount of success, but at your job, there's pay ranges, there's a cap. Right. You're not capped in entrepreneurship. What you make is what you put into it. So if you can get with other people that have that same mentality, then you guys can be great entrepreneurs. So that would be the advice that I would give, is definitely don't look at everything as being an individual, but sometimes look to work together with others, and you guys all be your own bosses in your own right, but work together to get this bag, and that's what it's about.
That's facts, and I'm glad you brought this up. I can speak for Mark for this, where your messages that you just spoke of is very parallel to what we believe in, what we talk about all the time. It's called group economics. Another thing that we don't do, like you said, it's this clip where these kids are just bouncing the basketball and they pass it to the next one, bouncing the basketball, pass it to the next one, but they keeping it all in a circle. I relate to that because that's what group economics is. Passing that dollar within the community around the same time, so it's not staying in for 6 hours, it's staying in there for months and days. When it comes to business folks, just bartering, like you said, you could do accounting, I could do graphics, my man Amrock could do writing. What can we come together with? Group economics, and try to build something off of that. So I can speak for Amrock to say, next time you speak to those kids, man, holler at us, because we definitely got a lot of info. A lot of knowledge when it comes to group economics in general, but definitely group economics on how to rise as a whole, as one band, one sound, if you hear what I'm saying.
Most definitely. And you already know we always tap in, so that's never a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. So last question of this interview, what is next up for K Roussaw Enterprises? As we know, K Roussaw brand in general, what's up next?
Honestly, what you just said, man. Every year, my goal is to grow my company bigger, to take on a new venture. In 2020, K Roussaw Cares was birthed. And before that, of course, it was K Roussaw Apparel. So this coming year is the year I've hinted towards it. But K Roussaw Realty is on the cusp. And K Roussaw Consulting will be following that. So just basically, man, just really, like I said, and I speak things into existence, man. I'm really big on the power of the tongue. So one of the things that I say what I'm going to do, and I go do it. A lot of people don't believe you should tell people what you're going to do, but for me, it's about speaking it into existence. So K Roussaw Enterprises is a real thing that we're that basically, again, we're just taking over the world, man. When people ask me what I'm doing, I tell them I'm trying to take over the world. I'm trying to do everything, have my hand in every pot, which is why I said the team and the we is so important. So definitely taking over the world, man. So K Roussaw Enterprises, be on the lookout. We got new ventures coming every year. You're gonna see me adding to it. So we trying to see what we can do. We trying to take over the world, man. That's all we doing. K Roussaw,
I hear that. I hear that.
What's up? Now look, man, we about to, before we get you up out of here, we gotta get into our quick 5. All right. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. We just need 5 quick answers. All right.
Gotcha.
Tell us one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey.
Save them refund checks. Save them refund checks.
Fact.
Wonderful answer. A lot of people feel that way. Shoot.
Fact.
All right. Next, which public figure that has passed on, right, that you would have loved to have met, hopefully talked about each other's experiences, potential business opportunities, or just pick their brain for their knowledge?
I got 2, but I'm gonna say Tupac and Nipsey.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, we get a lot of Nipsey. Rest in peace, and rest in peace to Tupac as well.
For sure.
Now you spoke on Diddy, right? As being like, yo, if he had on my artwork, right? That would be incredible, right? So I would imagine that he has somewhat inspired you. So give us 4 other people, 4 other entrepreneurs out there CEOs or whatever the case may be that have inspired you that way in building your brand?
Okay. Master P. I think he gets slept on a lot. People don't understand. Master P has literally done everything. I mean, he is an example of somebody who I like try to emulate all the time. I mean, I don't really like his fashion sense necessarily. No dig, Master P, but Master P is super dope. I think as a businessman, he's up there. Of course, Hove, I think that goes without saying. I mean, he's been doing since the beginning of time, moving very meticulous. 50 Cent, and I'm naming mostly after people that look like me. 50 Cent, I think a lot of people their business acumen is just is unprecedented. I think people don't see other than what they see as far as music and things like that. But and LeBron.
Oh yeah.
LeBron is he's making major moves. I mean, just for him to start out at 18 years old, to come from a small town like Akron and not have a father figure and make the moves in business and put his friends on the way he did. I think that's just, and now, I mean, Rich Paul, one of the biggest sports agents, and I mean, just a sport agency
probably ever.
And then, I mean, and y'all just seen what he just did with the Red Sox, like acquiring soccer, like percentages. And I mean, pretty soon we already know he's setting up to play to be a actual owner of a team. I think that's just super crazy. His production company, I mean, it's unprecedented. I mean, so I don't know if that was forward, and if I didn't say forward, then Rick Ross would be the next one.
Okay.
Bet.
Like that. So, you was recently out there in Vegas, right? I'm sure just, assuming it and getting that break, you know what I mean? Like, what's the next destination when you get your next break, when it's all right, everything's good right now, I just need to chill for a second, take my week or however many days or weeks? What's that next destination, that dream spot that you want to visit?
Oh man, I think I want to go to Europe, man. No, let me back up. I didn't mean to say that. Africa, and I know Africa is a continent, but honestly, I just want to tell. I want to just go to a few different countries in Africa, man. I always wanted to go. After going to Jamaica, and just seeing people that look like us, beautiful island, beautiful people. I said the motherland was next, so I definitely want to go to Africa and just experience the culture, the people. Everything that where we come from, the different countries, and not just go to, again, I know Africa is a continent, so I'm referring to going to multiple countries, whether it's South Africa, I want to go to Egypt, I want to go to Nigeria, Ghana, Morocco, just see and experience the different cultures, the food, the what I mean, just kind of decompress and just be around people that look like us.
Absolutely. Facts. Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned Egypt. That's one for me.
Yeah.
I want to see the pyramids. Like, I want to the things we read about in school. I want to actually see them, touch them, see it see it with my own eyes, and just experience that part of life. And I think that's super big. Just for decompressing when it comes to running all these businesses and just being always on the go and on the grind. Is that when you get a chance to decompress, is actually check something off the list.
Definitely. And finally, what do you often pray for the most?
What I often pray for the most, health and wealth. And when I say wealth, I'm not just talking about financially. I'm talking about wealth with family, wealth in every facet of what the word means. And that's something I pray for daily, is health and wealth. And of course, health goes without saying, that you can be the wealthiest man with everything that you aspire to have, but if you're not healthy, then you won't live to enjoy it. So that's my daily prayer, is health and wealth, man. And I think it covers everything. I want to be wealthy in family. I want to be wealthy in life, and having that health is super important as well. So that's something I pray for every day. Definitely appreciate that answer, man. And
people, that is officially our interview.
Oh man, it's a wrap. Kilil Roussaw, let's get it.
Yeah. We want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, commenting. We saw the comments. Thank everybody for commenting, viewing us live right now. Please go follow this dude, man. Go follow him at everything right there you see scrolling right here.
Kilil Roussaw cares. I am Kilil Roussaw. Kilil Roussaw Carol. Let's get it.
All that. I am K. Go follow him on IG. Go consume.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
And look, I'm gonna say it. Just yeah, go support. Go support. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say. I know you like consume, but I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? Like we should. That I mean, at the end of the day, that's the word, right? That's the word, support. And we should all, just galvanize, around one another, like you said, and be a team, right? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, hey man, do you have any closing remarks for the people? Anything you want to say?
Just basically, man, for everybody out here who's, doing that thing, if you have a dream or whatever it may be, life is short. I always tell people you get one lap around this thing we got, this track we got called life. So whatever your dreams and aspirations are, go get it. I've never been one to not do anything I set my mind to. And every year since being here, and again, major struggles and trials and tribulations, but to acquire the things that I have and, to see where I continue to go in this trajectory that I'm on, it's through determination and hard work. So whatever your dreams are, go chase them. Don't let your 9 to 5, even if you're not an entrepreneur, whatever you aspire to have, you want to be a partner in your company, you want to be a top executive, go get that and do everything in your power in order to make that happen. So for anybody that's watching this or will watch this, always remember that you can do anything you put your mind to, because I'm doing it.
Absolutely. Okay, very deep. We appreciate that. Once again, thank you, StreamYard platform, for allowing us to stream live tonight. Definitely, we got episode 77 out right now, the HL podcast. Please follow us on IG, TikTok, all at the HL podcast. And man, we have 78 coming soon.
Let's get it.
78 coming soon, man. Hey, everybody, thank y'all. Kilil Roussaw, man, definitely appreciate it, man. Peace and love, everybody.
Hey, man, appreciate it.